Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sisters at the Cinema.
Hey,
I'm
hey,
Valerie,
hey, and I'm Amanda.
and this week we are talking about Hulu's new release, The Supremes at Earl's All You Can Eat.
Now, according to Hulu, the movie is about lifelong best friends Odette, Clarice, and Barbara Jean, who are nicknamed the Supremes. They share an unbreakable bond from decades of weathering life's storms. Now, through new shades of heartbreak, the trio are put to test as they face their most challenging times yet. Now, our Supremes are played by Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor. Did I pronounce that right?
I believe so.
We have Sanaa Lathan
Hmm.
and Aduba for the ladies. And then our main male characters are played by Mekhi Phifer,
Yeah.
who we love.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Hornsby is Clarice's husband. And Julian McMahon plays Ray,
Mm.
or Chick, as he goes
Oh,
by.
they don't even talk about Lester, huh?
Lester is played by Vondi Curtis Hall,
The young one or the old one?
the old one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I guess that's all of them, the old ones they talked about.
Oh yeah,
That's
the
true.
newer actors or the younger actors are further down.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll be here all day if we listed every actor in this movie.
That's true. But the young ones play a major
That's
part.
true. That's true.
So, okay, but it is a long one, so I guess we should get into it.
We can mention a few other names.
All
We
right,
have
all right.
Kiana Simone as young Odette.
It's fantastic.
Fantastic. Tati Gabriel as young Barbara Jean.
Mm-hmm.
And Abigail Achiri as
Okay.
young Clarice.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Yes, the Supremes.
Awesome.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start at the very beginning, and there's a woman sitting in a tree.
On a sycamore tree. Don't
A
forget that
sycamore
part.
tree.
That's an important detail.
Right. And she talks about her mom being pregnant with her back in 1950 and how she was in her 10th month.
She said she was 10 and a half months pregnant.
10?
And I said, what?
Okay. And so she was, we see her pregnant, big pregnant, climbing this ladder to sit up in a tree. Okay. And I'm like, who and why are you in this tree and you that pregnant?
Right.
So her mom told her to go see this witch that she knew because to see if the witch could tell her what was going on with the baby and if the baby was ever going to come, pretty much is everything all right.
Right.
And so the witch asked her if she wanted the baby to be guided by destiny or fate. Destiny gives you a choice. Fate was a one-way street. And so she let the witch decide. Now, why would you let a witch decide anything? But anyway. So the witch told her she had to climb up a sycamore tree and sing her favorite hymn, then the baby would come. And she wasn't lying.
So wasn't.
So the mom done kicked the ladder by mistake.
I said, how's she gonna get down?
Thank you. And so her daughter was born
in a sycamore tree.
Now, how you have a baby up on a tree branch? That's the only. I'm gonna tell you, that's the only thing in this movie that I was like, okay. She done had a whole baby by herself up in the tree.
Up in the tree.
So, and the saying goes that she was born so high up that she wasn't afraid of heights, and it made her fearless. Yeah.
And that would be Odette.
Yes, that's Odette. My favorite.
Everybody favorite.
Yeah. And then we get introduced to Clarice, who was born to a mama that was a pushover. And she put on like a practice smile whenever her husband was nowhere to be found. That's what she said, because she having her baby at the White Hospital. So Clarice was born at the White Hospital to her mom, and dad was nowhere around. But that's something that we learned. Then we get introduced to Barbara Jean. And Barbara Jean's mama was a little
she was out in them streets.
Thank you. Okay. And so she big pregnant, and we see a group of dudes standing around talking about they woman.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to find out, they all talking about the same woman.
Same woman. So Barbara Jean's mama. So I don't know if we ever know who Barbara Jean's father is.
No, nobody knows. It's a mystery. Because it ain't like today. You could just have them go take a DNA test. Back then, it's just, I don't know. It's up in the air.
Poor Barbara Jean.
Right. So Odette says that the witch put her on a one-way street, which means, well, she don't have any choice. So, you know, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
So this is the group of girlfriends.
Yes, but it starts off as just two.
That what?
And it starts off as just two of them.
Yes.
And they later become the three amigos.
That's true. That's very true. Because we see they go to 1968, and Clarice is doing a piano recital.
And Odette is her number one fan.
Odette is awesome. I want her for one of my friends. Okay, can you be in my friend group? She's screaming and applauding. Nobody else is doing this. She's screaming and applauding.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out Clarice wins, right?
Yep.
Back at Odette's house, she's getting dressed for, we find out a date that Clarice and Richmond have set her up on.
A double date.
Yes. And so she got on this dress, and Clarice is like, ooh, that's the ugliest dress in the world. I was like, doggone. She said, your clothes look like virginity insurance. Well, Odette is like, well, maybe you should have worn some so you could keep yours.
Ooh.
I never seen somebody switch from so fast from the Virgin Mary to Mary Magdalene. Oh, they're a mess.
A mess. And then Odette's mom walks in, and she tells Odette, hey, you need to take this chicken I made over to Barbara Jean. Her mom just died, and I need to send her some food. And Clarice says, we going to Earl's. I said, ooh, Clarice is bold.
Bold, okay.
And Odette's mom's like, and
right.
Just take this chicken over to Barbara Jean. She just lost her mama. And
but not only that. Well, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I will say, not only did she was like, because the mama was like, take it over to your little friend's house, Barbara Jean.
Oh, yeah.
And Clarice is like,
Barbara Jean ain't got no friends.
The mama looked at her like she was crazy. And then, but Clarice keep going. And she like, but like you said, they on the way to Big Earl. She's like, I got on these heels. I got this, that. Clarice is a mess.
Because Odette's mama did not care. And where did they end up? Right on over at Barbara Jean's house.
That's right.
Who they also said got roaches.
Yes.
And we did see some.
That is correct.
Unfortunately. Poor little Barbara Jean.
Poor Barbara Jean.
But they ended up right over at her house with the chicken to give to Barbara Jean and her stepfather, who was his own kind of strange character. He was very touchy-feely
with Barbara
Jean, which made you wonder, like, what's been going on in this house.
Because she looked uncomfortable.
And what's going to go on in this house now that the mama is gone.
Right.
And Odette picked up on it. And so Odette and Clarice, they get in the house, sit down, and exchange pleasantries. And the stepfather tries to act cordial, you know.
Yeah.
And Odette picked up on him and his touchy-feeliness, and she said, get your hands off of her.
Yep.
Oh, but wait. So this is, sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. After Odette noticed him, she did invite Barbara Jean over to her house.
Yeah. And
the stepfather said, nah, she good. And Odette was like, she can come.
She's like, is that what you want?
Right. Poor little Barbara Jean don't know what to do.
Mm-mm.
And so he got his hand on Barbara Jean's shoulder or something.
Yeah.
And Odette says, "Take your hands off Barbara Jean."
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately flipped.
Okay.
Didn't take much at all. He started to pull his belt out.
Oh yeah. He said, "Oh, I heard about you. So I know who you are. You're supposed to be fearless."
Right. And he basically said, "Well, I'm finna knock some fear into you." And he pulls his belt out and acts like he about to whoop her behind.
Yeah.
And Odette is fearless.
She is fearless.
She said, "Put him up."
Ma'am. Odette said, "Look, my daddy was a prize fighter and he taught me everything I know."
She
took
her dress off.
She took her dress off.
She said, "I don't want to get no blood on it." That was too good.
She took off her dress, which is sign number one. Clarice and Barbara Jean looking like, oh, she crazy. They shocked and amazed because Odette proceeds to take off her dress and puts her hands up and she says, "Come on." She said, "Where's your belt? Come on, let's go."
And she jumped at him too, and he jumped back. Like, whoa. And so what he do? He backed down.
Yes, he did. Quick.
I said, "Okay, Odette." Right. Know what she doing out here in these streets.
She said she ain't scared of you because you're a man or whatever.
Exactly.
She said, "You're not going to do this girl like that."
Exactly.
Not on my watch.
Right. And so they got Barbara Jean and went on over to Big Earl's. And that's how their friendship began.
Yep.
Lifelong friendship. So over at the diner, Big Earl's or the Earl's Diner, they meet Big Earl, and he is just the nicest man. And he calls the girls the Supremes because they remind him of the singing group. And Clarice's boyfriend is Richmond. He shows up with his friend James, who they are there as a double date for James and Odette to kind of get together. But we know that Odette got a mouth on her.
Yep.
And apparently James does not.
He is like extra nervous and shy, quiet.
He don't talk.
Yeah.
And she don't like that. So he tries to give her a little compliment and she shoots him down.
She does.
Poor little James.
Yeah, because he said her dress was nice. And she like, my grandmama made this dress. Like, no, it's not.
Right. So he goes out to the car to either put something up or grab something, and she walks out behind him and confronts him about always being quiet. And she said, "What did Richmond promise you?"
Right.
And he said, "What you talking about?"
Yeah.
And she said, "To be here with me. What did he promise you? That you could get in my pants?"
Right.
And he said, "I've always liked you since we were 12 years old, and you stood up for me against those bullies." And we all said, "Aw."
Even she was like, "Aw." Yeah, she said they were calling him Frankenstein. And she took up for him and beat them dudes up.
So she hard, but she got a little softness in her.
Yeah.
Because she did melt a bit when he said that.
And it makes sense because she's like the protector of everybody, you know? And in a way, she reminded me of myself as far as, I ain't fighting no man now. But taking up for people, trying to look out for folks, I was like, oh, she's good people, you know?
Yep. You want her to be your friend.
Yes, you do.
Yep. So when she and James go back inside, she whispers to Big Earl that Barbara Jean's stepfather has been inappropriate with her.
Yep. She said, "I don't like the way he's touching her."
And Earl was basically like, "All right, got you."
He said, "I'll handle it." And I was like, "What are he gonna do?"
Right.
My mind immediately, like, handle to me, made some things. I was like, "Is Big Earl that dude? They gonna take him down?"
That's true. We didn't know what he meant when he said that.
I thought he was gonna take him out.
But what he does end up doing is he invites them over to his house.
Yeah.
So all three of the girls end up going over there, and they meet his wife, and the girl says, my daughter just went off to school, so I got a room if you need some place to stay. And Barbara Jean breaks down. She said, ain't nobody ever done nothing this nice for me before.
Right.
And
she said even people that were supposed to.
Which means her mama and her stepdaddy.
And whoever else the family is.
Right.
Because you remember when they were at Odette's house. I mean, at Barbara Jean's house. Yes.
She said,
the funeral was that day. Right.
Yep. With no family there.
No family. Because Odette was like, where your aunties and stuff at? Because usually a funeral, you're going to have a house full of folks. You got a lot of food in them brought, and people just still hanging out.
Yep.
That was not the case. It was her and her stepdaddy.
Right. And so yeah, she's never had anybody be this nice to her before, and Odette and Clarice become her two best friends.
Right, because she says, y'all don't even know me, doing this for me. And Clarice was like, well, we're going to have to get to know you because you're our new best friend. And they meant that thing.
Cute. They meant that thing.
Okay. That's so sweet.
That was very sweet.
Yeah, this movie.
They don't really know her. They knew she didn't have no friends.
Right.
But it wasn't like they was trying to be her friend
before this. Because she said a roach, or the cousin said a roach fell out of hair and all this stuff. So you know how kids are, young people. We're not trying to befriend you because you got some things going on, We're talking about you. Sorry, but it's true. But they befriended her because they saw what she was going through. Yeah.
Too sweet.
Yeah.
So then we fast forward to the 1990s.
They do mention that later in life, Earl and his wife pass away, and how hard it was to lose Big Earl because he brought them together. I guess at the diner and the Supremes. And then, yes, they go to 99, and Big Earl is found at his bedside.
In prayer. On his bedside.
Dead.
And his newer wife, I don't know how long they've been together, but he is remarried.
Miss Minnie.
Yes, he is remarried to Miss Minnie. And he died by the bedside while praying to God.
Yeah.
And the girls arrive. Because, at this point, Big Earl has been like a father to Barbara Jean.
Yeah.
As I assume, been helping the neighborhood and all that, like well known.
Yeah, as a good guy.
And the girls show up, and there's, broke down about it.
Yeah.
And they start looking at him and looking at Minnie and looking at him. And does Minnie say something about when he died?
Yeah, she says he died. Well, they were like, why didn't you call us?
Yeah.
She was like, well, it was so late at night. I didn't want to bother y'all. I didn't want to wake y'all. You need your sleep. Stuff like that. Yep. And so she called them in the morning. But so he'd been at the bedside all night.
And they said, Miss Minnie, where did you sleep last night? And she said, I slept in the bed. What you expect?
Where I'm supposed to sleep?
In the bed with the dead husband.
With the dead husband on the side. And Odette really too broke up about this. You was just easily able to just sleep next to him. He gone.
Right.
Yeah, Miss Minnie is a trip too.
She too much.
And too much. So this is where, at Big Earl's house that we get to see all of the husbands out on the porch. Because, we saw all of the guys younger, but now we actually get to see the adult versions of all the husbands.
And this is our first time seeing Lester, though.
As a older guy.
Period.
Oh, period.
This is our first time seeing Lester.
I didn't realize that. So we get introduced to him as older first.
Yes, because I remember the first time we watched it, I looked at him and I said, that's her husband?
Right.
That old man?
The old man.
Sorry, Lester.
You're right. And so Miss Minnie is outside crying and
putting on a show.
Yes, exactly. So talking about her spirit guide told her she would be following Big Earl to the grave in the new year. So this goes on to explain all her antics throughout the film, okay? And then we see the Supremes back at Earl's diner, and Odette is complaining about being hot.
Mm-hmm.
And they start talking about her going through the change.
Mm-hmm. And menopause creeped up on her.
Mm-hmm. So then they're jumping around to different places, but we're back at Clarice's house with Richmond. And, they just finished getting it on. And the phone rings. And nobody answers. Nobody says anything.
Clarice answers the phone.
Yes.
And nobody answers when she says hello.
Right.
And she said it a good 2 or 3 times before she gave up on it. But you could tell she had some thoughts running through her mind.
Oh, yeah. She looked concerned.
And Richmond is in the shower. And he just says, "Who is it?" And she said, "Wrong number."
Yeah.
And left it at that. But we know what she's thinking.
Exactly. Because then we see Odette and Barbara Jean on the phone. And Odette says that Clarice has been getting hang-up calls.
And we all know what that means.
Thank you. We all know. Back in the day, that's how that went down. I don't guess people still doing that.
Right. Young folks might not know what that means. Right. But if you've been around a while, you know what hang-up calls mean.
Exactly. Yeah, Odette pretty much then accused Richmond of having something going on. So, next we see BJ and her husband talking. And she's like, they have a bar in their house. Why? But anyway, they have a bar in their house, and she's about to get a drink, but she doesn't. But it looks like a hard decision or something. She's debating, but she puts it back.
Okay, I didn't pick up on that.
Oh yeah, and so Lester saw her. And he came up to her and he was like, "You're not weak." And I just don't get why you have a bar in your house. If you
struggle.
You have somebody got issues. Exactly. Don't do that. Just get rid of it. You know?
They're getting ready to go to Big Earl's funeral.
Right. And we know, that's hard for them because he had a big impact on their lives, especially hers.
Yep.
So we understand it. But still, don't have the alcohol in your house.
Right. Yep. I agree.
At the funeral, or I guess after the funeral, at the wake, everybody's in the house.
Is it the wake or the repast?
One of them.
Okay.
I don't know the difference, I don't think.
Oh, okay. The wake happens before the funeral.
Okay.
And the repast happens after.
Okay.
Usually.
So, yeah, they got to be at the repast then. And so there's a lamp that's flickering.
A light bulb.
Yeah. And Barbara Jean says it's giving her a headache. She tells her husband. And so, being the good, dutiful husband that he is, he's like, "Oh, let me go see if I can fix it." And Lester goes over to the lamp. And next thing we know, we see the whole house pretty much. The lights blink.
Flicker.
Yeah. And we hear a thud.
Oh, yeah. A thud.
And so poor Lester, Barbara Jean's walking over like, what happened? And she see her husband laid on the floor. And
Lester done got electrocuted.
He got electrocuted.
Dead.
Trying to figure at the repast.
At the repast for Big Earl, her father figure.
Yeah.
Now her husband.
Not her husband. Just like that.
Just like that. And that's gotta be in the same week. Yeah.
Yeah, because the funeral probably a week after, 2 max. Yeah. Now her husband, and so she, pretty much crumpled to the floor, but her bestie's at her side to hold her up. But man.
Yep. And I didn't catch that electrocution part the first time I watched it.
Okay.
I didn't catch the light flicker.
Yeah.
But I heard, the fall. And so when I first watched it, I just thought maybe he had a heart attack and died. And then the second time I watched it, I guess I was paying more attention.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, he was fixing that light bulb and got electrocuted.
That electricity, boy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, R.I.P. Lester.
R.I.P. So back in 1968, we see Barbara Jean talking to Lester, her future husband, and he's showing off his new car to everybody.
I got one thing I got to throw in here.
Okay.
Because there is a moment where Richmond makes a comment about why Big Earl married
Minnie. I was like, I'm gonna skip this. Go ahead.
And I think we need to talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
It makes
it says a lot.
Yes, it says a lot. And so Richmond makes a comment basically that Big Earl married Miss Minnie because she was a showgirl. He was basically like, I don't blame her.
Right. He was. Like, that's exactly right. Richmond liked them type of ladies.
Exactly.
Yeah, a little loose,
and that ain't the type of lady he got.
Not at all. Clarice is a good woman.
Right.
Make a good one. He know it though. Like he probably was like, she'll make a good wife.
Exactly.
And I have my little chickies on the side.
Right. So I thought that was worth mentioning.
You're right, because I wrote it, but I was like, I've been telling y'all too many details. So I'm like, let me skip this one.
That was too good not to say anything.
Okay.
And told on itself.
Pretty much. And so, okay, we're back to Lester showing off his car. And this is where we see two black boys running down the street
being chased
with some white dudes in the car chasing them.
Yep.
And so when the boys get to the crowd, they run off. And these are probably some teenagers, maybe a little older, that are running. And so what got me was that they were just like, oh, Desmond running people off the street again. It made it like they're so used to it. It was a non-issue.
Right.
The boys made it safely. The truck gone. All right, back to what we were doing. Yeah. I was like, that's crazy to have to deal with racism like that, to where it's so common. You're so used to it that it don't even faze you. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they said Desmond tried to run us over again. Again. I was like, wow.
Somebody needs to run Desmond over.
Okay, please. Well, back to Lester and Barbara Jean. Lester's like, you probably think I'm an old man.
Yeah, this is our first glimpse at young Lester.
Yeah.
He trying to show off for the ladies. And Barbara Jean caught his eye.
Yep. So they never tell us what the age is.
I wish they would.
Me too. I want to know. Because she's in high school, right?
I think so.
So I want to know, is this appropriate? Which it probably is.
I don't think it is. Maybe in the 60s it was.
Right.
Definitely
like,
not.
Sir, go find you a grown woman.
Yep.
Dog.
Sure did. Lester said, you must think I'm an old man. What'd she say?
She's like, oh, no. Knowing she probably was like, yeah, you too old to be talking to me, but all right. But so he asked her out. And then Odette yells for them to come inside Big Earl's. And what is she calling them to see? The fine white boy. I thought that was so crazy. She called them in there to see the white boy. Now with their boyfriends. So they date, whatever. Yep. They do not care. They eyeballing the Ray.
Talking about he cute.
Right. And the guys looking at them like, what?
Right.
Big Earl introduces them to Ray, and the girls just look smitten. Yeah, with their boyfriends. That's so funny.
Too funny.
And Ray and Barbara Jean, staring into each other's eyes. Did you see that? Like, already. Oh, okay.
Barbara Jean caught 2 in one day.
She did what?
I said Barbara Jean caught 2 in one day.
God, I didn't even think of that. Go on, Barbara Jean. She said she did pick up a little what her mama got now. Okay. Yeah. They like my mama. They like me too.
Right.
And so once Big Earl introduces him, a guy in the diner asks him if he's related to Desmond Carlson, because he introduces him as Ray Carlson. And he says, yeah, that's my big brother.
I wouldn't have admitted that.
Okay. Secret. All right.
I don't know him.
Okay. That would have been the smart choice. And so the guy asked him if he liked playing games like running black folks off the road.
Right.
And Ray says no, of course. He shouldn't even have let him in here. And Big E, I keep calling him Big E because that's just
too funny.
Me. I shorten everybody's name, but Big Earl. Big Earl says to dude, he said, both of your brothers in jail, and you don't see me checking your pockets for silverware. So Big Earl is just a good, all around good guy.
Yep.
From everything that we see.
Yep.
And so Ray goes to the back and fast BJ. Barbara Jean follow him on back there.
Snuck on back there, didn't she?
Fast.
Now this scene I thought was a little weird because they start comparing scars.
Yeah.
How did this even become a thing?
I don't think it is a thing. I think that she just noticed his scar and was like trying to show him, yeah, I've been abused too. They forming a trauma bond.
Right, basically. I was like, this is so weird.
Right.
Yep, she went on back there and started making some moves.
Yeah, and Big Earl says, Ray says that Big Earl let him live there because he found out that his big brother Desmond had him living in the shed with the chickens.
That's how he got the nickname Chick.
Yep. Terrible. That dude, Desmond, was just
a piece of work.
Ugh. So Barbara Jean been sneaking around with Ray for about a month now. And she telling her friends, there's nothing going on. We're just like building a friendship.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like, you can't be friends with a white boy. Not in these days and times. Okay.
Nope.
And then we see Richmond. Well, all the guys are at the table and the girls are, somewhere on looking and talking. And there's some girls over there by Richmond. Richmond, we know, is a football player.
Yep.
The girl's gonna be on him, especially if he's a star. That's just part of the, deal. And so, Odette says to Clarice, that ring ain't repelling them girls like you thought, huh? So that is a mess. But
right.
So now we find out they engaged.
Yep.
And
Richmond's still flirting with the other girls.
Still flirting. The girls look, part of the territory. You're a celebrity, athlete, big athlete, all that stuff. The women,
that's true.
They gonna flock, but you gotta be able to
entertain them.
Bow, like Martin.
Exactly.
He said, "Be gone, home wreckers."
Exactly. You ain't gotta entertain them.
Exactly.
Richmond out there living his best life.
Okay.
We find out that Clarice has turned down a recording deal.
Yes.
To be with Richmond.
Because
she said your family is forever.
That's what
the recording deal is just one little thing.
Yeah.
One time. Who told her that?
So, but she goes into it more. She's like, she wants it, but she wants a family so much, and she have both. Right, you can. But her reasoning, is that Richmond is already an athlete. He gonna be traveling, playing ball. And she said, if I'm recording and I got to do shows and all this stuff, I'm going to be gone. Who going to raise my kids? And, they like, your mama, we'll help. We'll do this. We'll do that.
Exactly. That's
but
what
she said,
do.
What's the point of having a family if you can't be there with them? I said, well, okay. All right, Clarice, I understand. I hate for you to give up your dream.
Right.
Because I kind of feel like she felt like if she didn't just go ahead and marry Richmond, she wasn't going to get nobody else. That was the part.
I think she probably did think that.
Yeah.
They've been together so long, too. It seems like.
Maybe his, I don't want to say caliber, but I'm going to say caliber because of him being an athlete.
Yeah.
And the prospects that he might have for the future,
Yep.
So, yeah, I kind of felt like it was a fear there. I mean, not saying she don't love Richmond.
Yeah.
But, she's been warned by Odette. She's seeing these girls on them, stuff like that. She could have found another guy. That's my thing.
A better guy.
And she young. And I know back then, a lot of women got married real young.
That's true. Yeah.
But she could have went off and did her recording for a few years and then got married to somebody. You don't have to get married at 18 years old.
Exactly. Yep.
But
that's true. Oh, Clarice.
Yep.
But she and Odette are having this conversation outside of the dance party that they're at. Inside, Barbara Jean is dancing with Lester.
Yeah. Oh, Lester.
She dances with Lester, and then she said, you know what? I gotta go to the ladies' room.
Right.
But where did she end up?
In there with Ray. She's like, it's just been nice dancing with you, old man, but I gotta go see my real boo. Okay. Mm-hmm. And this is like a college party they mentioned or something. So when she gets back there with Ray, they talking about college and and Ray says how he didn't even consider college until Big Earl was talking to him about it, telling him he's too smart not to go. Which is Earl. I'm telling you. And she says, her mom says she wasn't smart enough, but she was pretty, so and then Ray, and then she wasn't special, and Ray's like, you are special. And then they start dancing and kissing. Ooh.
Right.
Okay. So I think too that was the first time they ever even kissed, because
I think so
she
too.
looked so shocked.
Yep.
Oh, then James takes Odette shooting, and so and she was pretty good for never had a shot before, but he tells her if she ever gets married, it should be to him. This is his proposal.
Yeah, and we know James ain't got the best social skills, right? Verbal cues and all that, so this was the best he could do.
Okay. I want to marry you, woman. Right. So it should be to him. And so she ate it right up. So.
She soft. But because he asked her to marry him, she also puts off her dream of becoming a nurse.
I don't think it's that.
What do you think it is?
I think it's fear.
Oh.
I think it's fear because when that scene comes where he drops off a gift for her, her mom brings it to her and she opens it. It's a stethoscope.
Yep.
And the mom is looking so like, oh, he's a good man, Savannah. She was really looking like, oh, he's so sweet. And so, but Odette is like not that impressed. I mean, she looks like she thinks it's sweet.
Yeah.
But I think her mind is like, I'm not even gonna do this, because when her mom says you gotta hurry up so you can catch the bus, and she said, I don't know why you didn't ask, Richmond or somebody to take you.
Right.
And she says, I don't want them to waste their time with someone I might not even pass.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I feel like she just got scared about the whole thing. We don't get any deeper explanation of it.
Yeah.
But I do believe, I don't think it was that James, because I think James would have been fine with her going to nursing school.
Yeah.
If James gonna do what she say. For what I feel like anyway. True. So, but she, I think she gave up on the dream, because I'm like, they don't even tell us if she ever went to take the test at all. Like whether she went and then she passed or failed, none of that. I'm thinking she didn't even do it.
I thought she was supposed to be fearless, though.
Yeah, that's what we thought. That we didn't know what she was talking about. Surprise, surprise.
Right. Oh, man.
So while she's talking to her mom, she gets a call. And she goes to meet the girls and finds out that BJ's period is late. Oh, Barbara Jean.
Barbara Jean. And her mama footsteps.
Yeah, because Clarice trying to tell her, it might just be late. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, they're like, you pregnant and it's Chick's baby. Period.
Odette don't mess around.
She a straight shooter.
Yep.
Okay. And she tell her, you need to tell Chick. And Clarice is like, she can't. And she's like, why? And Clarice is like, you might want to consider getting rid of it. Or you may not want to keep it.
Yeah. And
says, well, there goes Marion Lester. I said, doggone Clarice. You got to do that girl like that. And so, Odette was like, she don't even like him like that. Right. But BJ's like, I'm no better than my mama. She's like, I was trying. I thought I was. She's like, I got 2 dudes out here.
Right.
Pregnant by one.
She wasn't trying that hard from what I could tell.
No, ma'am. With the sneaking? You're sneaking.
You sneaking.
Yeah. So back in current day, Odette is at the doctor's office talking about her hot flashes and going through menopause, and the doctor looking solemn, and he tells her she's not going through menopause. She got lymphoma.
Yep.
Cancer sucks.
Yep. And the doctor even says, do you want me to tell James, Mr. James? I think he said.
Yeah.
And she said, nope. He can't handle it when I got a cold.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
But she, not only does she not tell James, she don't tell nobody.
She don't tell nobody. Because she's the strong friend. They always say check on your strong friends.
They need to be checked up on.
Right.
Everybody, y'all hear that?
Yep.
Check on your strong friends.
Exactly. Because she feel like they can't handle it.
Yep. She got to keep it together for them.
Because they got so much drama going on in their own lives. So while she's, thinking about all of this, she runs into Chick. And she gives him a big old hug. Yep. And he's just back in town to do research for college studies or whatever. And they talk about, Barbara Jean and Big Earl. And she tells him, don't let it be 30 years next time. So Ray been gone forever. Yeah.
Yep.
He left and didn't look back.
I don't even know how they recognized each other.
I thought that too. Because he don't look like Ray.
Right.
Well, she may look like, they did do a good job with a lot of the casting from the young to the older. Because sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, that's supposed to be her? Okay. Right. The only one I thought Barbara Jean and, them two didn't look, all the way, but I guess they were close enough. But Odette and Clarice did great. And then Richmond was great. So they did a good job on some of those. But yeah, that old Ray, I was like, okay. So Odette, she's like, she didn't want to tell Barbara Jean that she ran into him because she didn't think she could take losing him twice.
Are we back in the past now?
Yeah.
Because this movie does go back and forth a lot.
Right.
And so it's hard to keep these notes straight.
Yeah, we're back where Ray is telling Barbara Jean they need to go north.
Yeah. Barbara Jean and I call him Chick.
Okay.
Barbara Jean and Chick are gonna run away together.
Yeah.
But he has to go to his brother's house to steal some of his money or something.
Yeah, steal some money.
And she like, ain't he gonna know it's gone? And he says, not really. Or something like that.
Yeah. He said by the time he notices, we'll be gone.
Right. So they go to the brother's house, Desmond's house, and for some reason they decide they need to split up.
Thank you. She shouldn't even have been there. There is no reason why he couldn't have done that by himself and then came and got her.
That's very true. That is very true.
Okay.
So he goes into the house to find the money, and Barbara Jean wanders off into the barn
with her flashlight.
Where I guess this is where Chick ended up living at that point.
Well, it's possible.
Maybe she wanted to see.
Yeah, no time for tours, babe.
Right. And somebody sneaks up on her and turns out to be Desmond.
Yes.
This is the last person that you want to run into in any circumstance, but especially alone in a barn
on his property
at night.
Yes,
on his property, like you said. He one of the most racist ones out there.
Right?
Why? Just why?
Yeah.
And so he attacks her, and
you talking about? You with Ray? You like light meat? Let me give you some.
Yep. And so he attacks her and is gonna rape her.
Yeah.
But Barbara Jean got some skills.
Yeah, she fought him off.
She fought him off and ran out. And she and Chick run into each other. And she said, "This is it. I can't do this no more."
But Desmond yells as she running off, "I'm gonna kill you."
That's true.
And I was like, "Oh my."
Yeah, he's too much.
Yes. I wouldn't want to date you just because of who your brother is.
Right.
Like, I don't care how hot you are. Your brother running my folks down in the streets.
Right. But she knew that.
This is what I'm saying. She should have wanted to date him from jump.
Exactly.
And I get that he is not like his brother. I understand that. But I don't want to deal with y'all.
Well,
I'm not coming to Thanksgiving. I'm not coming to whatever, I can't be a part of that whole thing. So
right. And this incident truly hit that point home for her.
You're right.
Because she's ran into Chick and she said, I can't do this. I can't live this interracial couple life. This is all we're going to be fighting people left and right for the rest of our lives. I can't do this.
Yep.
And so she basically leaves.
She
leaves
walks
him
out
and tells him
sorry.
to go live your life, bro.
She said, sorry, Ray. I got to go.
Yep.
But the question I had about that was, where you going when this dude just threatened to kill you? You just gonna take off walking through the dark at night by yourself? No, I need you to walk me home.
Oh, that's a good point.
I know we just broke up, but I still need you.
Your brother gonna kill me.
Okay? He just threatened my life. He tried to rape me. I'm not gonna walk these streets.
That's so true.
Okay. That's what I said. I said, she a bad girl. I guess she said she fought him off once.
Yes.
No, ma'am.
That's a good point right there.
I was like, wait a minute, man. It just threatened you. Okay. At your own risk.
So then she ends up at Earl's Diner.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's the same night or a different night.
I don't think it's the same, but I don't know for sure. But I was like, why is she there at night by herself?
By herself.
I didn't get that.
Yeah. But I guess based off of what she said, so Lester walks in.
Yeah.
And she's a mess. And she tells him, I'm pregnant. And it's Chick's baby.
Well, yeah, he asked.
He does. You're right. He says it. He says it, Chick's.
And I was like, yeah. He said, is it Ray Carlson? And I was like, so you knew something was going on? He had to have known to just throw his name out like that.
He did.
I was shocked by that. Right, when she sneaked into the back room. I was shocked that he knew.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't too shocked. I don't know.
I was.
And she said, yeah.
Yep.
And does he ask her, like, what did he say?
Yeah, he said, does he know? Or maybe he said, what did he say?
Yes, and she said he left before I could tell him. Now, in my mind, I was thinking, you ran him off. You broke up with him and told him that was it.
Yeah.
But now that you mentioned her being there by herself, maybe that's where she was looking for him.
Maybe that's when they were sneaking. You make a good point because they've been seeing each other all this time, and we know they can't go out. They in his room. So
she was looking for him, probably to tell him, I guess.
But that's probably when she used to see him, right? Yeah, she would go see him at night. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So she was looking for him, but he gone.
He gone.
She ran him off.
And Lester stepped up to the plate.
Let me tell you something.
And Lester said, "That's our baby."
Pretty much. Lester, I said, love will have you doing some things, okay? Because Lester was like, okay, but I love you. He was unfazed. He said, I love you, and I want you to marry me. I want to marry you.
And raise our baby.
Right. And she says, but you can't love our baby. He said, our baby? Lester is like, this the girl for me. She the one. I don't care about all that. That's insignificant.
So did.
He gone. He gone anyway. It's my woman.
My woman, my baby.
So back to current times, we see that Barbara Jean has turned to drinking.
Yep.
You know, she been through a lot, so we understand.
Understandable.
Yeah. And we find out that Richmond is cheating on Clarice.
She found some lipstick on one of his shirts.
Oh, yeah, his underwear, babe. His underwear.
Oh, his underwear?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord.
I missed that.
And I was like, dude, you got to do better. Like, if you're going to cheat, at least be sneaky.
Yep.
Get rid of the stuff. Hide the stuff. Wash it yourself. Something, you know?
He done got too comfortable.
Exactly. So she's distraught, and her friends, you know, of course, comfort her. And then we see Odette, too, who's starting chemo. And so now they go to Barbara Jean and her son, Adam.
They went back to the past.
Yep, they're in 1970. Oh, is it 1977? Yeah, it's 1977.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, and her son is about 10 years old? What you say?
Yeah, I would have said 8 to 10, I guess.
Okay.
I forget what year we were when she got pregnant.
Yeah, me too.
So let's say 8 to 10.
Okay. And he's asking if he can go to his friend's house.
Yep. She's playing cards with her friends.
Yep.
And he want to go play with his friends too.
Right. And so she tells him, you can go, but you have to stay on the sidewalk and promise me no shortcuts.
No shortcuts.
What Adam do?
He took a shortcut.
Shortcut. Okay. Because kids don't listen.
They don't listen.
We were hard-headed, I understand, but oof, it's tough out here.
But it's, it was even tougher back then.
Yes.
So he knew he shouldn't have took no shortcut.
Right, because as a kid, I used to walk everywhere by myself and ride my bike everywhere by myself. My mom don't know where I'm at. Oh, she couldn't tell me not to take no shortcut because I'm taking the shortcut. I'm going through the field. I'm going to this place. Mama don't have a clue where I am. Okay. Nope. And so, but your mama telling you this for a reason, as moms do. And so he walking through this field and
on his shortcut.
On the shortcut. Not listening to your mama. And what happens?
We hear a truck drive up from behind. And it's Desmond.
He's drinking.
And he's drinking and driving.
Yes.
And he sees this little black boy.
Yep.
On the pathway. And you hear him revving the engine to his truck. And then you see a moment where he just like, I'm finna do it. And he punches the gas.
And the scene kind of it cuts. So we don't really see anything.
But we know it ain't good.
No, we know. We know when you got to cut away from the scene. You know what I'm saying? Now we know that Adam got killed.
Yep.
So we're at the crime scene now. So the police are there. Barbara Jean is there. Lester, all the Supremes,
Yep.
And Lester says to James, which I didn't realize that was James in the first one. James is the cop. Yeah. So James is a cop. I didn't realize that the first time, but he says to James, we know who did this. And if y'all can't do something, I will.
I'll handle it.
And James is like, look now, you can't be out here saying stuff like this. But, I mean, it's real life. Y'all been knowing about this dude for years. And y'all ain't did nothing. So I'm about to handle it. And, of course, Barbara Jean is
toe
up. And so out of all the stuff she's been through, just in her younger life, then she go ahead, she had this baby, and she got a husband. She never wasn't just out here a single mom, because she could have been, which would have been way harder. Yeah, she got somebody to help her with Adam, who loves Adam, all of this, and then she lose him. It's so terrible.
Yep.
So next we go to James and Odette.
In the future.
That's right. Yeah, like I'm saying current day for it. Yeah.
Odette is getting home from work, right?
Yep. James waiting on her.
Work.
Yeah.
With quotation marks on the outside, because she ain't really been at work. She walk in the house and pulls a Band-Aid or something.
I missed that. Okay.
She walk in the house and pull something off her
to try to hide it.
To hide that she's been having treatment.
Got you.
And so she walks in and James is just sitting there waiting for her. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't reading nothing. He ain't watching
nothing. Waiting on you. That's my assignment for today.
Yep. And so
he says, "You're gonna tell me what's going on."
She said, "What you talking about?" And he said, "Old girl at your job says you didn't show up last week." And she said, "Now you know I don't like all this spying," which that did make me wonder what they've been through.
She said, "Get out of my business."
And he like, "I know something going on," and she said, "Well, we thought I was going through the change. Thought the menopause had, snuck up on me. Well, The doctor says it ain't menopause. And James immediately knew because his next question was, which one is it?
Yep.
So he knew it was cancer.
Yeah.
And so she tells him which cancer it was, and he tells her to come sit on his lap, and they just have this sweet little moment.
I know it was a great scene. The whole scene was great. You know, I mean, they got a lot of great scenes in this movie, but I just thought it was really, I mean, Aunjanue, her facial expressions and stuff, like, it was fantastic. Sad, but so good.
Right. Just a good, sweet moment between, you know, husband and wife. And, you know, he's like, so when do we start treatment? Like, what's next? So, you know, he ready.
He ready. He got to support his woman. He wants, you know, he love his wife.
Right.
That's just what's evident about James. If you don't know nothing else,
since he was 12 years old.
Odette. Thank you. We love him some Odette. Okay.
That's right.
And so he asked, you know, if you want me to tell Supreme, and she's like, no, they got too much going on. So,
yeah, very sweet.
Yeah.
I think I cried a little.
Yeah, it's reasonable. A lot of tears flowed during this doggone movie.
Right.
So back at the diner, Clarice and Odette are talking about Barbara Jean's drinking. And next thing you know, she shows up drunk.
Yep. Slurring her words and everything.
And drunk people don't know that people can see that you're drunk. They feel like they look normal, you know.
Yep.
So they know, they see. But this scene, they're there because Minnie is supposedly having something for Big Earl. But it turns out it's really about Minnie.
All about Minnie. She up to something. I don't know what exactly she trying to do, but she up to something.
You know, because her spirit guide told her she was gonna die within a year of Earl.
Yeah.
She trying to go out with a bang. But yeah, she collecting money and stuff, or I don't know if she giving out spiritual advice too or what, but Minnie doing too much.
Too much.
And so, but they talking about Minnie, and she like, look, you're not gonna mess up this event. You already messed up
Earl's repass.
Yeah, so I hope she wasn't talking about Lester. Sorry.
That's what I said.
I didn't think about that before.
My notes say, how inconsiderate, considering Lester died that same
day. I didn't even think about that before. I was thinking, remember when they were going over the songs for, and that might have been the actual funeral. And Odette was like, oh, we doing these songs, you know, she'll be all right, or something like that. That's what came to my mind. And now I'm like, doggone, Lester died at the repass.
Sure did.
Doggone. She's like, it's supposed to be about me, not y'all.
And so, Minnie, she too much.
So she mad because they talking back to her or whatever, and goes over to the table.
Sure do.
And she says,
what you want.
Just okay, keep playing with me. She said, somebody's husbands like to be all up in a Cherokee, and I'm not talking about a car.
And we all know who husband she's talking about.
We all know. Because we know that Lester loved him some Barbara Jean. And James loved him some Odette. Right. Okay? Richmond is the only one in question.
That's exactly right. So the next thing we know, they at a strip club looking for somebody named Cherokee.
Okay. And they find her because Barbara Jean knew who she was. A small town, you know.
Right.
But Barbara Jean knew who she was, so pointed her out. And so Clarice confronts her. And she asks her how long, you know. She's like, it's been 4 months. And Cherokee says, he told me y'all weren't together anymore. Right. Which is, you know.
Typical.
Exactly. And so Clarice, you know, she don't give her a hard time, but she give her some advice.
Woman to woman.
Woman to woman, okay? I'll sing the song. But, yeah, she's like, he don't care about you. He's just using you. He gonna use you up. He don't care about you.
Take.
Okay? So, we always know the dude don't really care about the side piece. You know, sometimes, every now and then they might leave their main one for the side piece, but that's not That's not typical. So I think she's giving her, good advice that maybe she can use in the future or somebody else.
Yeah.
But she like pretty much leave my husband alone. Go somewhere, sit down. Okay. And then Clarice is talking to them about Big Earl. Like he warned her about Richmond.
Oh yeah, no, that's it. So did I.
Right. She said he ain't the only one. Okay. So Big Earl was like, he gonna be a good man, but it's gonna be a long time before that happens.
Like he said, he gonna be a good man in 30 years. She's still married.
Right. If you feel like waiting, hey. So he tried. She didn't have some warnings. So
yep, he tried.
And while they're talking, she sees a bandage on Odette's arm. Was it a bandage? Or just some scars? Okay, yeah. It was kind of fast.
So as soon as she saw it, she said, "What is Dr. So-and-so doing to you?"
Right. I thought you were going for menopause. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Odette is trying to play it off like nothing going on.
Right.
But she eventually just has to tell him.
Yep.
And so they all distraught, of course. But they start fussing over her about who's going to do what, how we going to handle this, what we going to do. And she's like, She hated. Mm-hmm. She liked to do the fussing.
Right. Yep, but they decide, we're going to take shifts and I'm going to take you to chemo this day and take you to treatment this day. Like they, they ready to support their girl.
Right. They're a good group of friends. Mm-hmm. So then we see Clarice. She confronts Richmond about Cherokee. And what he do?
Richmond said, "Who is that?"
Deny. What
you talking about?
Yes, I don't know nobody named Cherokee.
I don't know nothing about what you talking about, woman. I mean, it cracked me up because she walked in the house and he was sitting there watching TV, and I mean, it was the most hilarious show. That
he was watching Harlem Nights.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch what he was watching, but he was having a blast.
Yes, living his best life.
She came in there and ruined the party.
Ruined it. Oh, what you laughing about?
Right.
I don't see nothing funny.
Yep, and then he swear up and down. He swore on his mother's grave.
On his mother's grave. And I was like, I don't even get why people do that.
I don't either.
But
especially if you did it.
Right. Sir, do you care about your mama at all?
At all. Thank you.
Struck down by lightning. I don't know.
Right.
Sir. Yeah, deny. Mm-hmm. And eventually he's like, okay. Right. I'm caught.
Right. But then he said, I only slept with her one time.
More lies. And she's like, oh, in 4 months?
In 4 months? Right.
You really show some restraint. Sir, it's out. Like, now is the time for you to come clean.
Come all the way clean.
Thank you.
He trying to see how much she know.
The gig is up.
She know
too
much.
Right.
Yep. And she said, I want you to leave.
She said, I gave up everything for this family.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, I ain't asked you to, which I thought was interesting.
That was interesting.
But she did make that decision on her own without even telling him. Because remember, she said Richmond doesn't know that I'm turning it down.
Oh, yeah, she did.
So it had nothing to do with that. These are your decisions.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. So, he probably would have been fine with her going out on the road, but she said she didn't want to. Yep. So I will say, you can't blame him for that now.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That part, you can't blame on him.
Right.
The cheating, yeah, that's all him.
Yeah.
But she says, this is not working for me anymore.
Yep.
And he says, okay, but I'm not moving. That's how it went down.
That's true. You right.
Yep.
And he's, I know he was thinking, if I don't leave, she ain't going nowhere.
Yep. He's like, I take care of everything. I bought the house. I pay for everything. Where's she going to go?
Richmond thought he really had her.
He did.
And she said, you know what? If you won't leave, I will.
She said, I'll leave.
She turned around and walked out.
Yep. As she should. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was shocked.
Shocked. So then we see her going into her new digs with James and Odette.
Oh yeah.
So she was serious about that thing.
Oh yeah. She said, I got friends. I got somewhere I can go. People will take me in. Okay.
Exactly. So they have a house. I don't know if it's Odette's mom's old house or what.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they got somewhere, and that's where Clarice ends up staying.
Mm-hmm.
And James and Odette take her over there, and Odette gives her a hug, and Clarice says, I don't know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Odette
says, nobody does.
Yep.
And then James says something to them, y'all coming in this house or something. And Clarice says, when you pick the right one, you don't have to. And I thought that was deep.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
Because James ain't playing no games about Odette.
At all. Nope. Yep. So she said, if you pick the right one, you ain't got to figure out how to be divorced or how to break up.
Yeah.
Because y'all always
gonna be together. Yep. Y'all ain't split up.
Mm-hmm. So
Whole
yeah,
thing.
that was, you know.
But that's I mean, young. She was young too.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I got
she was young, but she was warned.
She was warned, right?
Yeah,
by 2 people at least,
right? Probably
maybe more.
Okay,
because I would dare to say that some of these girls he messed around with probably confronted her too.
Oh, that's a good.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's how they go, especially when they want your spot.
That's true. Ooh-wee.
So she probably been going through for a while.
Yep. Well, Clarice.
So next we see Odette getting her haircut from Barbara Jean. What you got?
We see James is combing her hair.
Oh, okay. I skipped that. I be trying to skip some things because I be doing too much. So, but you can say it. Go.
So some of her hair does come out.
Yeah.
And she said, Odette being Odette.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't trying to be a downer. She ain't trying to make you feel bad for her. She said, well, that's just less of you to mess with.
Yeah.
To James.
Yep.
And so then she decides to go on and cut it off.
Yeah.
And we back with the 3 girls. And Barbara Jean is the one cutting Odette's hair.
Mm-hmm. So she get her hair all shaved off. And by the end of it, she like, shoot, I thought I was gonna be crying, but shoot, I don't have to do no rollers, no this, no perms, no that. She said, I should have did this years ago.
She said, I'm free.
Right. And she's so free that Clarice wants some of that too. She like, you know what? Cut mine too. So she get her a little short haircut.
Sure do. Clarice said, I want to be free too.
Right. Okay. It's too much. She said, one less thing I got to worry about is this hair.
Yep.
So back at the diner, Barbara Jean almost crashed into the restaurant. And they run out.
She ran the car up on the curb.
Yeah. And they run out. And Barbara Jean is, of course, drunk. But not only that, she pissy drunk.
She pissed her pants.
Yes.
And now she crying. I wet myself.
Yeah.
That's rock bottom.
Baby. Okay.
That was my thought. Well, Barbara Jean done hit rock bottom. She had now peed in her pants in front of her 2 best friends and whoever else is watching.
Right.
Because now that she done run up on this curb, you know,
people, yes. Yes. Baby, they watching you.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah. So, back at the house, I'm not sure whose house they're at.
I think it's Barbara Jean's.
Okay. Because they get her cleaned up.
Yeah.
And she come out talking about, oh, I don't know what happened. You don't?
We know.
Everybody know. And so, and Clarice, she the pushover. And she's like, oh, you're going to be all right. Da, 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 da. And well, Odette is like, you an alcoholic. She said, you could have killed somebody. Yep. You could have killed a kid. And I said, ooh. She's trying to hurt. She's trying to make it hurt. Because she wants you to get yourself together. Yep. She said, you need this pain right now. Because you're not doing right. Exactly. So this starts a big old fight between the 3 of them. Yeah. So Odette is like, I ain't holding back no more. Yep. And you are a drunk, is what she says to Barbara Jean. And she look over at Clarice and she said, you a pushover. And she said, I ain't got time for that in my last days. She said, I'm washing my hands of the both of y'all. She said, I'm not going to waste my last days on y'all. And then she walking and she just collapsed.
Passes out. Yep.
And so then next we see her in the hospital.
Yep. She in a coma. Barbara Jean tells her
that she joined AA.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's how she starts. And then she goes into back after Adam passed.
Yep. And so, yeah, Barbara Jean starts, her own little confessional moment. Because she said, well, Odette in this coma.
Right.
Let me go on and
do some
clear my conscience.
Do some of my steps.
And so she tells Odette what she did to Chick all those years ago after their son died. And so Chick didn't know she was pregnant. Didn't know she had a baby, even, I guess. Or if he did, he didn't know it was his.
Right.
He probably just assumed it was Lester's.
Yeah.
And so after their son dies, Barbara Jean is distraught as any mom would be. And she goes to Chick and she says something like,
she asked him first, she said, did Desmond kill him because he knew he was ours?
Okay.
Or yours?
Yep.
And he like, mine.
Right. He like, what you talking about?
Yeah.
And she says, I just thought you would have known because as soon as he died, I could feel that he was gone. So I thought you would be able to feel it too.
Yeah.
And Chick is like stunned.
Yeah.
And so does he ask her like, what can I do to help? Or
he might have, but I don't know how it came about, but I know she tells him, you need to make sure he knows that he killed his
one of his own.
Yeah.
And then you need to kill him.
Girl, she done came here to give you some orders. Okay.
I said,
if you ever love me, that's what she said. If you ever love me, you will kill your brother. Nah, bye.
Right. I said, oh, that was deep. I know.
Right.
She went full speed ahead with that. Because she didn't waste no time, no breath, no nothing. And then she walked out.
She said, I had a purpose when I came here today. And it wasn't to see your cute face. It was to make sure you slay your brother.
Not slay.
So she feels like she has blood on her hands.
Right.
And that's why she kind of confessing.
Yep.
Because she never told them about it.
Right. Because then we see a flashback to Desmond bloody and dead on his front porch. So we know that soon after that conversation was had with Chick, Desmond ended up dead.
Yeah. So
she is like, I killed this man.
Yeah. In her mind, Ray must have did what I asked him to do.
Right. Yep.
So after that scene, we go to. Oh well, no, we're still in the hospital when Odette wakes up.
Mid prayer.
Yeah, mid prayer. So prayer changes things. And she tells Clarice that the musical piece that she decided to play, she did a great job, and none of that stuff is your fault. Which I thought was awesome because they just had this huge argument before she passed.
Yeah.
And so now she letting her know, look, I know we were mad, but in reality, you did awesome. You did the best you could do with what you had. Okay, Richmond. And you could see Clarice, it meant a lot to her because that's what she said when they were younger. Having a family was the best musical piece that she could play.
Yeah.
And so, she was sending them off, and she tells BJ that she saw Chick and she needs to go make amends. She said, that's the one thing I want you to do before I die. She
said, I ain't gonna rest in no kind of peace if you don't go make amends with Chick.
Yeah.
I said, that's low down and dirty.
Okay. Doggone. Now I'm responsible for your peace. Right. In the afterlife.
Exactly. So BJ, Clarice, and James have now left the room.
Yeah.
And all that's left is Richmond.
Mm-hmm. He on his way out the door too, but she called him back.
Right, because he like, if everybody else gone, I don't need to be here. And I'm thinking the same thing.
He's like, shoot, I don't want no speech.
And Odette was like, actually, I got something for you.
Yeah.
I need your muscles and your car.
All right, she said, I don't want to talk to you. I just need your help.
Yep.
So she asked him to take her to a sycamore tree.
Mm-hmm. The tree she was born in.
Yep. And so under the tree, he gets her there and puts her under the tree. And she's looking sad and
she rough. She is in rough shape because when they are walking towards this tree, her breath is just as raggedy and
she can't hardly walk.
Yeah, she can't hardly. She leaning on him and she can't hardly walk. She can't hardly breathe.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's sitting down on that ground because she need that rest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has a whole like little monologue about certain things that have just gone on through her life, and at one point it looked like she passed.
Mm-hmm. She stopped. She was looking up into the sky.
Yeah.
And took her last breath.
And I was like,
I burst into tears.
And Richmond
was broke up.
He was crying. It was so sad.
Yep.
But then lo and behold, a seed from the tree fell and hit her in the head.
And knocked her back into consciousness. Right.
And we all like, what? We thought she was dead. Right. Playing tricks on us.
Yep, and it turns out that ain't no sycamore tree.
Right, that's what she said, Richmond. This ain't no sycamore tree. He said a tree is a tree to me.
I know that's me too, Richmond.
Okay, I might know a couple, but I definitely can't point out no sycamore tree.
Right.
And so she's like, man, I thought I'd be dead by now.
We thought so too.
Yeah, he thought she was gone. We all did. And Ray says, you think maybe it's not your time?
Richmond.
Oh, I'm sorry. What I call him?
He said Ray.
Oh, Richmond. Richmond says, you think maybe it's not your time, and says God has plans for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see you do some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I want to see you do some things too, Richmond.
Mm-hmm. She said, you better than this.
Yep.
I said, well,
she said, I know in my heart that you're a better man than this. And he says, you think so? Oh, thing. He been beat up too.
Right.
He been beat up too. So, I mean, does say some things for somebody that's got to cheat all the time and get validation or whatever from these women,
Yeah.
He got some stuff going on too.
Yeah. So next we see Richmond go see Clarice at her new house, whatever. And he gives her a program for a concert where she is the star of the show. And she like, I don't play for audiences.
Yeah.
And he said, then get up there and play for yourself. And I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And so she says, I don't know whether to kiss you or spank you. And he says, why not do both? And they did. They got right on between them sheets. And the next morning, he got up and while he's getting dressed, Clarice starts to wake up. And he said, I ain't want to leave before you woke up. And she was like, all right, bye. And he said, I was thinking we could get somebody to come help move your stuff back to the house. And she was like, why we need somebody to help move my stuff back? And he was like, we just sick, so you moving back home, right?
We made up. We back together, right?
Right. And she was like, that's not what that means. We ain't been apart that long.
Right.
She's like, give me some time to miss you.
Okay.
Something.
She's like, I'm just trying to get me some. Okay.
And awesome. So he said, you used me.
Yeah.
He said, you knew I was going to expect you to move back home. You used me.
Yeah.
She laughed in his face. She laughed and she said, "Sorry, Richmond." She tried to clean it up a bit, but then she kept laughing even more.
Oh, Richmond.
And I said, "That's what he get.
That's what he get." Sorry, what you mean she used you?
Right.
You've been using her all these years. Okay.
Right.
She deserved this.
Yep. Yep. So Clarice got her a little lick back. And next we see Barbara Jean at the university. And she is there to make amends with Chick, I guess, as Odette told her at the hospital.
Right.
And, she basically wants to apologize for making him kill his brother all those years ago. And I thought this was funny. Chick was like, "Well, actually, I didn't kill him." He said, "When I went to kill him, he was already dead." And she said, "Lester." And Chick said it wasn't Lester. He said, "Desmond was out there hurting everybody." And his girlfriend said, "You know what? I can't take this no more." And that's who killed him.
See, you can't be doing these chicks any kind of way.
Right.
Listen and learn.
Listen and learn. And so, they have a little weird romantic moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
30 years later.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Is this the same cute Ray? Maybe.
I mean, they think so.
Yeah, they do. They told them so. Okay.
Yeah, they have a little moment and end up kissing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, I don't know. To me, that's just an awkward scene in the whole from start to finish. Because what do you say to a person that you've asked to kill somebody and that you've thought for 30 years
that they did it,
that they killed that person?
Yeah.
And then they tell you, "Nah, you actually I didn't."
Wasn't me after all. He could have told her.
He could have told her.
He said, "You know what? I went over there. He was already dead."
Right.
Okay, bye.
Exactly. Now I'm out. So yeah, all these years she has lived with this, thinking she was responsible for this man's death.
More reasons for her to be drinking.
More reasons for her. Exactly. So I was a little bit like, Chick was wrong for that.
Yeah.
So now Odette is out of the hospital. Oof, that was a close call. And she is back at Earl's, their favorite spot.
Yep.
Clarice and Barbara Jean are waiting for her. They've got their old table that they always sit in. And they are still, cracking jokes on each other.
Yeah.
They talk about Odette's outfit, which was horrendous. But then we see Chick walk up and he gives Barbara Jean a kiss. So we see they together.
They done rekindled their old flame.
And so what's funny to me is that the girls got them a table and the boys got them a table. So all the fellas are sitting at a table together.
That's so funny.
So Chick walks back over and sits with the guys.
Yeah.
Richmond is there. And Clarice makes a comment loud enough for him to hear. She said, "I'm not playing that concert that Richmond brought the program for, but she does tell the ladies that she is going to New York.
Okay.
To do some recordings.
You better go,
girl. Finally try and fulfill her dreams.
Yeah, it's never too late.
And they are just so happy for her. And that's kind of how it ends is, you know, the girls back together in their favorite spot.
Yeah.
And they do this last flash to that picture of them, the three of them when they were teenagers.
Yeah.
And then the credits start rolling.
Awesome. Awesome.
And then after the credits start, we see crazy Miss Minnie standing on top of the roof of her house and acting like she gonna jump. because she trying to, she like, well, I'm supposed to be dead by now, so might as well
That's so crazy.
get it over with. And a gust of wind comes through.
So you better quit playing.
Right. And she does fall off the roof. But she lands on little Earl. And so she's fine. He fine, which one of them should be have a broken something.
Yeah.
And she thinks a near death experience has now fulfilled the prophecy of her dying after Big Earl. And that's the official ending.
Yeah, go sit down somewhere, Miss Minnie.
Right. Miss Minnie is too much.
Oh. So now do we move into our ratings or what we just a review of the film? What you think about it overall? I guess you can do that and do your rating.
I thought it was great. You know, when you first mentioned it, doing it for the podcast, I was just like, you know, I'm an action comedy kind of girl. These little heartfelt moments, they just get on my nerves sometimes. You know, I stopped watching This Is Us because they had me crying every episode.
Right,
and
that's so true.
Yeah, so
I finished This Is Us because it's fantastic.
It was great, but
she can't handle
them
it.
Tears every episode.
I'm not in touch with her emotions.
No. If that's what it takes, I don't need to be.
When she did text me that this old sappy movie got me crying over here.
Exactly.
It's good for you.
I guess. So, yep, they had me in tears a couple of times.
Yeah.
But the movie is great. I love all three of these actresses.
Yeah.
You know, Sanaa been doing this.
Yeah.
For a long time, right. And so she in some of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I didn't really start to get to know Aunjanue Ellis until she was in Lovecraft Country.
Okay. Yeah.
And ever since then, I've been a huge fan.
She's great.
Yes. And now, Uzo.
Yeah.
I have known her since she was in the prison show. What was it? Oh, Orange is the New Black.
Oh, okay.
She played Crazy Eyes, and she did that.
See, I know her face, but I haven't really seen much of her work.
Well, in Orange is the New Black, she did that.
Okay.
And so the casting here, was definitely great.
Yeah.
Love some Mekhi Phifer. I feel like he's just really blossomed as he's gotten older. And so, Russell Hornsby, we know him from Grimm.
So, oh my goodness,
I feel like that was the first show we really got a good glimpse of him in.
Yeah,
and yeah, we love that show.
We love it.
And you know, we know. I think I've seen Lester before, old Lester.
I have too. I just can't recall in what.
Yeah, and so you know, this was a pretty stacked cast, I think. And they all shined in their own way. The story was amazing. I mean, just three good friends that love each other through thick and thin. You know.
Yeah.
You know, for me, this was probably a 5. It's not something I'm just gonna watch all the time, but it was just really great.
Yeah.
To watch right now, and yeah, that's really all I got to say about it. It was great.
Okay. Well, I too love this film. When I first saw the trailer, I think I saw it like coming out on Instagram or something. And I was like, I gotta watch this movie.
Yeah.
And so Aunjanue Ellis is one of my favorites. She's just awesome. And this movie, you know, solidified that even more because her facial expressions and the way she's just delivering lines, and I mean, you could just really, you know, feel it. It was, she was awesome. But I mean, the whole cast was great. The young cast is amazing. The young Odette, I mean, come on.
Yep.
I hope to see her in so much more, you know, because sometimes you see people in the great movie or whatever, you don't see them anymore.
Right.
You know? So hopefully, you know, their careers take off and they do great things, because I feel like this movie is almost perfect. That's really how I felt about it. It's so good.
Yeah.
The story, even with the whole witch and her being fearless, and then she talks about at some point how it wasn't true at all, because she wasn't fearless. And we see that in the movie, like we're talking about with the nursing stuff. And so, but yeah, I mean, it was great. I'm just so excited that Hulu even, you know, did this project.
Yeah.
I think it could have been released at theaters, but you know, theater, you know how it goes nowadays. It's not like it used to be.
Not at all.
But it's amazing. And so I too, I'm giving it 5 buckets of popcorn. Did
I say 5 stars?
You might have. I didn't even notice at the time. She meant buckets, y'all.
Whoopsie.
So I'm giving it 5 buckets. The only issue I had with this movie was I could have had less mini.
I agree.
I didn't need the mini scenes.
Yep.
You know.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm interested in what the girl's going through and all of that. I didn't need Miss Minnie. So but other than that, it was just fantastic. The writing, the acting, everything. So
phenomenal. Yay.
So I think that's it for this week, y'all. So you know the drill. Leave us your comments, any recommendations for movies that we might watch in the future. Like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff.
Yep.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Bye. Bye.